What is going on, everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a great weekend. This is part 2 of the weekend market recap, going over what the sectors did through the past week, May 6th through May 10th. Give it a second, let people join up if they want to join. We just finished the market recap for the indexes. Overall, it was just a red week last week for the overall market. About to break down all the sectors. And as you can see here, I got barchart.com up and going. And I like looking at this site to break down what happened in the market with the indexes and the sectors. And I got all the sectors up right here. And every single sector ended the week red. It seemed like every day when I would look in the morning, because when I trade and when I'm in the markets, it's from 8:30 a.m. till about noon is when I'm in the markets. And it seemed like every day last week, everything was just red. All the sectors, all the indexes, but there was great opportunity with the inverse ETFs, TVIX, UVXY. So let's break this down. We had the technology sector performed the worst last week, ending the week down negative 3.5%, followed by materials down negative 2.8%. The best performing sector last week was consumer staples, ending the week down negative 0.3%, followed by energy down negative 0.6%. But we all know last week, if you were here for the recap, energy had the worst sector last week or 2 weeks ago. So I said look for energy to have a good bounce back after that big sell-off that it had. And look at energy ends the week at the number 2 spot for the best performing sector. So let's go ahead and break these down. And I'm looking at these before I started the live stream here. And these sectors are all lining up just like the market is. We got utilities right here. It's like everything's baselining right at a moving average or right at support. So this goes just to confirm my theory, and these are my opinions. I think we're heading into a bullish week this upcoming week. Or I could just be totally off and we could just blow through support, sell off, everybody panic, and just go into a market frenzy. Anything could happen. But my personal opinion, I think we're heading into a bullish week. So I'll just run through these real quick. So we got consumer staples here as it comes down right to the 50-day moving average. See how it's bouncing right on that moving average. And that's going to be the theme for this video. Just like all the indexes, these sectors are all bouncing or baselining right at support. So it's kind of hard to say where things are going to go from here. I mean, you would expect for it to bounce right off it and just start trending back up. But we don't know what Monday has in store for us. It could crack through that support and just start downfalling. But we got consumer staples here, had just a downtrend. I'm liking these bullish candles as each day it gapped down and it sold off. And then it looks like it quickly recovered. When you see long wicks like that, especially at the bottom, that means the bears couldn't hold it down and the bulls brought it right back up. So let's go through here and break down consumer staples real quick on the intraday chart. So Monday we had a gap down from Friday, and we just had a nice grind Monday, and then Tuesday we just sold off all day, making lower lows or lower highs and lower lows all day. Wednesday we open up, and we did move up Wednesday, but I would just call this choppiness. Choppy uptrends, just up and down, and it closed pretty weak on Wednesday. Thursday we got a gap down, had a morning sell-off, quick pop, continued to sell off, started to slow down, and then look at that surge as it surged up over VWAP, reclaimed VWAP, and shot up. It went green on the day. Choppiness, started to lose it right there. Closed mixed, I would say, on Wednesday. I really like, though, if you zoom in on this, right here, I really like the setup, and this is the importance of watching sectors. If you're watching a stock that's in the same sector as yours, watching this orange line is the VWAP. You see how it fell below the VWAP, then it comes up to the VWAP right there. If you're watching a stock and that stock's setting up for a breakout, comparing it to a sector, it just, because 3 out of 4 stocks follow the overall market. And if a stock's setting up for a breakout and you got the same sector setting up, just like right here, it's like giving you confirmation that that breakout is going to pull through. So we got a nice VWAP coming up to it. See how it surges over the VWAP, comes back, claims the VWAP for support. Even though it did puncture it, you got to think of it as like a trampoline. It's not metal. It's going to pinch right through it, and then boom, snaps up. And then off we go. And it just starts surging up. I really like that. So then Friday, this opens. Morning sell-off. Look at that morning sell-off. New low on the week. And then at the end of the day here, just starts grinding up. Goes green on the day. And then off we go. I normally like to plot out the open and the close on my charts. We look here on Friday. This blue line is the previous day's close. From right here. You can see we opened at that level. Stock came all the way down, or sector, and then all the way back up. And right here, you can see how it just like blew through it and then pulled back. And then it bounced as support right there and then surged up. That's really cool too. So that's consumer staples. Let's get into utilities next. We'll go to the daily here. So the week started off pretty shaky. It opened up right here at the beginning of the week. We sold down. You could see we tried to bounce off this 50-day. Came below it, right back up, closed on it. The next day we opened up just below that 50-day and sank down. And we even blew through this support line right here. Blew right through it and closed below it. The next day comes up, it's resistance, just a doji, but then Friday, look at that open and that big green candle. Just power right there. Just taking back the previous 3 days of losses and coming right back up. Very nice for utilities. Very nice. And it was even able to close above that 50-day. So it's going to be nice to see what happens Monday with utilities. And let me see here. I think consumer utilities was the top 3. Number 3. Consumer staples was number 1 last week. So then now let's break down the intraday of utilities. We got Monday here, pretty much just slowly sold off. Choppiness here on Tuesday, up and down, up and down. Wednesday, sold off. So Friday was like its really only powerful day. Look at that. Just power up there, pulls back, and then just boom. Just totally takes back that day, that day, that day, and pretty much this day. It almost closed positive on the week. Almost. Just couldn't get there. Let me see the daily one more time on this. I'm going to see if it could try to hold above this 50-day. I liked utilities last week, so keep an eye out for stocks popping up under the utilities sector, and just keep an eye on utilities to see if it has strength and if it's coming back up to this resistance line up here. So I like utilities. Let me write that down. Next up, let's go to materials. Materials just got a pullback. The past 5 days here got a pullback. Fell below the 200-day moving average here. Bounces right off the 100-day moving average. Great pop right off of it and right up to this 200-day moving average. So it's going to be just interesting to see if materials can get back above this 200-day or if it's going to come back down to this 100-day moving average. Let's see. Breaking down the intraday chart here. Friday was like the #1 day. Like, even in the indexes, Friday was the most powerful day, I would say, for the market because it was just slow all week. Very slow all week. Monday, materials gaps down. It just choppiness, but moving its way back on up, trying to regain what it gapped down, but it just couldn't. Next day, gaps down, sells off. Wednesday pretty much goes sideways. Thursday, gaps down more, gets a morning sell-off all the way to around the afternoon, then starts to perk back up and reclaim, showing strength. Next day opens, gets a slight pullback, and then just boom, powers up. So materials is looking good as well. Always try to prepare the stock sector to see where it's currently at. Let me look at this. Look at it here on the weekly. It fell below the 50-day and the 100-day on the weekly. Look at that 13-day on the weekly. Just a straight drop. That orange line is 13 exponential moving average. That's a sick drop. You can even plot out a trend line here on the monthly. One right there. Let me draw another one. One right there. And then I can connect the highs too. From there down. So in an ascending wedge here on the monthly. But I'm going to want to see materials try to stay above this 50-day and work its way up above this 200-day moving average. We went over, I think we went over consumer staples. XLP pretty much opens up right here, pulls back, and then comes right back to where it started the week. Approaching all-time, or not all-time highs, the highs here at 57. Let's see. Big movements here. Look at that. Moves up there. Tuesday just choppy selling off. Wednesday gets it back. Thursday sells off, gets it back. Friday sells off, and then look at that, from 56.20 all the way up to 57.40. Nice, just powerful move right there. Look at that, one day you get back Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and even Monday pretty much. It almost closed high for the week. This would have been the only sector that would have closed positive, but if it didn't get this big pullback right here. But this just went like parabolic towards the end of the day. Look at that. Very nice move. Next up, we got real estate. So real estate fell below this 50-day, but then was able to reclaim it. We could draw a trend line on this. And we can even draw a trend line connecting the higher lows. Approaching pretty much all-time highs. So this is an ascending wedge. Look for it to just keep in this ascending wedge, and as it approaches all-time highs up here, I'm liking real estate. Real estate's looking pretty bullish. Looking at it here on the intraday. Monday, look at this high up here it opens up at. And then Tuesday, just choppiness selling down. Made a low here on the week. Next day gaps up, just consolidating, choppiness. Thursday sells down, makes a new low on the week. Grinds back up. Grinds right up to the day before's lows on that day. Next day gets a pullback and then grinds up. Real estate's interesting. Real estate's always so choppy. Violent moves down, violent moves up. And then financials. I like how financials is bouncing like perfectly off this 300-day moving average. Falls below, just below the 13 EMA. We got the 300-day moving average right here. Just comes right down to it, bounces right off of it. So I'm bullish on financials. Look for it to start U-shaping back up to this, hopefully to this high up here. Good support here at 27, right there. And then that's how financials performed through the week. Next, we got the energy sector, the second best performing sector last week. 2 weeks ago, this had a big downfall right here from this 200-day moving average at 68, falls all the way down, and it's just hanging around this 50-day, and then surges down more. And then ever since then, it's just been hanging around this 100-day moving average, piercing through it, hanging like right on it. I'm bearish on energy. I don't think it's going to get back above. I really don't, because it's not showing strength to hold above this 100-day moving average. You got hammers here, one there, and one there. I'm going to look for this to start falling back down. So keep an eye, if your stock is in the energy sector, I'm writing this down too. If your stock's in the energy sector, make sure you check the energy sector to see where it's at. If it's getting back above this 100-day, then it's bullish. But if it's falling down, I don't even want to try to attempt to play that stock. Real quick, just to show you the intraday. Puts in multiple bottoms down here at 63. Right there, and right there. Monday was its best day. It gapped down Monday, but then it was able to come back up, make the week high on a Monday, bouncing off the VWAP. Next day it gaps down, gaps up, gaps back down, triple bottom here at 62.90. So 62.90 is going to be a key level. Let me draw that out. $62.90 for support, and I want to see if it can get back above 64.50. 64.50. So this is the range I'm putting it in. And let's see now which direction it wants to go. It seems to be liking to hang around the bottom end more than this bottom top up here. XLI, we got industrials next. Industrials pulls right back. Baselining right here, just below the 50-day. Well, it closed above it Friday, but it's just right at it. And this has been the theme. Pulling back, baselining with bullish candles. So it's hard to say with bullish candles like that if it's still the top and we still got more pullback to go. But I'm seeing a nice bounce for this week. And here's what industrials did for the week. Topped out here Monday. Just kept making new lows on the week. Look at that. 76.50 has been a resistance for it. It's continually making lower lows. I don't know. I think I'm bearish on industrials. I could be wrong though. Next up, technology. Same thing. See that how it's baselining? It gets its pullback and now it's baselining at that 50-day. So we could be going to the upside, or with the bullish candles, it could be still a top and it could keep pulling back. It's hard to say. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I say that every weekend. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next week because it always is. It's hard to try to predict the market. I try to never predict the market. I just want to react to what's happening. So Monday, it's going to be really important to see where everything is gapping to. What levels are all these sectors and indexes gapping to? That's going to be a real important thing right there. Let's see technology on the intraday. Again, kept making lower lows on the week. Right there and right there. Even lower highs. Kept making lower highs. For the most part, it looks like it's been trending down. You could draw a big trend line connecting the lower highs, and even a big trend line connecting the lower lows. You see how it's just back and forth, trending down. And then Friday, right at the end right here, it broke through that, and then fell right back below that top resistance. I'm going to be bullish, though, on technology, because technology has just been on fire. Next up, communications. There was a few communication stocks popping off last week that I can remember. Same thing, pulls back, it's looking to baseline at this 50-day. Everything's setting up like this. So it's kind of hard to talk something new when you're saying the same thing on every single chart. Here's the intraday. Let's see. Monday looked strong, but then Tuesday was just horrible. Sideways on Wednesday. Thursday, I'd call this choppiness, but positive. And then Friday, it sold off, came back, reclaimed, went green. Look at how that's set up, though, too. It sold off, came right up to that resistance right there, pulled back, cup and handle breakout, surged up through it, and then when it pulled back, found support right there where it was resistance right here and resistance right here for a nice pop up. So that was a nice bullish indicator right there. This old resistance is now holding as support for it to keep moving its way on up. So bullish on communications going into Monday. This 49 level. So I'm going to want to draw a support here. Right there. And to see if it can get above this 49.42 level. Because it was struggling right there. And then put the high. It's been topping out here at like 50. So we'll see this upcoming week if it can start working its way on up through this resistance and moving its way on up to that resistance. I think we're setting up for a good week this upcoming week. I really think that. Again, baselining right there at the 50-day. It's like the same thing as communications for consumer. The exact same thing. Look at that big sell-off. Then it came back up. Resistance right there, pulled back, broke through it, pulled back, found support at that area. Same thing. All right, and the last one is the health sector. Health sector is a little bit different though from all the other sectors. This one I can actually talk about. So we got the death cross recently right there with the 50-day crossing below the 200-day. Stock comes down to the 300-day. You can see that sharp stab right there, right through it, and then I was able to come right back above it and close above it. The health sector is always the most active, I would say. I love following the health sector. But it is somewhat trying to baseline in this area, as you can see with its triangle. So look for it to start moving its way back on up to this resistance right here. Or if it falls through the support at around 88, look for it to fall all the way down here to 86. Let me draw these levels out. Hold on. So I want to draw support here at 88. And I want to draw another support here at 86. Start moving its way on up to these two moving averages right here. That's what I want to see next week. Let's see the intraday real quick. Monday looked really, really strong as it surged up right here. But then it gapped down, sold off, trended down. Pretty much went sideways on Wednesday. Gaps down here Thursday. Just trickles down. Starts to round and shoot up. Friday sold off and then regained everything. I'd say that's a strong close that it had on Friday for the health sector. This did continually make lower lows though as the week went on and lower highs. When it popped up here, it was not able to get really above the previous day's high, the day before. This area right here, like 89, just below 89.50, is acting as resistance. So let's see if they can get above that. But that's all the sectors that we went through. I think we're heading into a bullish week next week. I really do. As long as something, like I said in the last one, something dramatic doesn't happen. If they bring up trade war talks again, if President Trump tweets something just ridiculous to shake up the markets, then who knows? That's why I always try not to predict. I always want to react and take it day by day. But the overall sectors are looking good and set up perfectly, I think, for next week for a really good bounce. The only one I'd be worried about is energy. Energy is the only one I don't like. Let me pull it up. Yeah, energy, I just don't like the way it's sitting below its 100-day. And it's just hanging around. It really looks like that's like a resistance, that 64 level. So look for energy to start falling off again. Right, that's going to be it for this, guys. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend and you're able to prepare for the upcoming week, because this upcoming week's about to be a crazy one. A lot of potential out there. So prepare, study up, and that's all I could say, really. If you don't prepare and you lose and you're like, why am I losing? Well, you didn't prepare. You didn't study. You got to do this stuff. You got to break down the markets and prepare yourself. But I'm not going to get into no rant or nothing. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Like I said, thought I'd try this live stream out. I've seen people just come and go. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll just record it and then put it out. But make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, that like button. And until next time, have that patience, have that discipline, and study, study, study. Later, everyone.